Hello friends, hope you are well. Welcome to this week's Dirt Report, the weekly news show all about Australian tech and telco news, and maybe some international stuff too. Had to add that in today because in this week's episode we have some big international news too. So today we have NBN is 1% incomplete. It'll all make sense in a moment. NBN usage post-lockdown. And US to upgrade broadband. Telstra Belong hands the reins over to an AI. Sony reveals a clamshell. Apple doing their own thing, and IKEA selling more stuff. A lot of surprises to behold, I'm sure. Thanks for jumping on. Remember to like this video if you do, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Let's start with our favorite topic, the NBN. This week, Minister Paul Fletcher announced that the NBN has 1% more to go before being completely completed. In other words, 99% done. The Minister for Communication, Cyber Safety and the Arts, weird mixture, had this to say. Since the beginning of the year, more than 1 million premises have been declared ready to connect, and more than 600,000 homes and businesses have signed up for NBN services. The resilience the NBN has shown in recent months, with more people working and studying at home, underlines the network's strength and adaptability. The NBN has cemented its place as the nation's digital backbone for productivity, connectivity and social cohesion. In 2013, our Labor national government inherited an NBN which was a failing project with barely more than 50,000 fixed-line premises connected. We committed to a turnaround with the NBN to be rolled out 4 years more quickly and for 30 billion less than under Labor's plan. And I've got my doubts on that, but let's continue. And we have delivered 11.5 million premises who are now able to connect. The volume rollout is 99% complete, and almost 70% of NBN customers are on 50 megabits down or higher plans. Over this period, NBN's financial performance has steadily improved, with 2019-20 revenue forecasted at 3.7 billion, and the company planned to be cash flow positive by 2023, or rather 24. The company's priorities from here include continued investment in and focus on driving the performance of the network and progressing in the very final stages of the build so that every Australian has access to fast broadband. The 6.1 billion in debt finance NBN Co has secured on external markets demonstrates the strong support for the company's business plan and outlook and the capacity to invest. Now this whole thing reminds me of an old TUI ad from New Zealand. NBN 99% complete. Yeah, right. So what are the numbers then? Well, from this build report, NBN Co stated that they have reached their 11 million milestone. To be exact, there are now 11,571,390 premises that are ready to be serviced. Out of those 11 million, there is 7,161,336 that have already been activated, which leaves 60,729 premises that are not yet ready to connect. This isn't an exact number, but these are great numbers. After all, 60,000 left to connect after so many years is a feat in itself. Think about it this way. This time last year, there were 590,000 not yet ready to connect. And do you remember the CS10 fiber to the node premises that were dubbed too hard to connect? The bypass premises, you know those ones? The premises which were dubbed too hard to connect, thrown into the too hard basket, dropped like a cheating significant other? Well, good news everyone. The 60K that was seen today includes all those premises. So yes, we are currently not far off from completion. Now, future-wise, each new home development should end up being connected to the NBN out of the box and should not bear much cost to the NBNs themselves to do so. So my thoughts are, what now? Will there be an NBN Part 2? They have recently received a whole bunch of funding, and like any child with fresh pocket money, they went out and bought lots of bad candy, also known as copper cables. And if you would like to find out more on that, I have linked to last week's episode below. Well, now we wait for the government and NBN Co to come up with what's next. So far, we know that upon completion later this year, NBN Co will provide formal advice to Paul Fletcher on how it all went. Then he will request NBN Co to undertake a detailed technical assessment of its network. That's certainly going to be an exciting year of assessments. We shall see how well the rollout actually went, and hopefully it will lead to NBN Co taking further steps to improve the network beyond copper. Let's see what those assessments actually find. On that note, I'm curious to see how all this pans out over the next 6 months. As this Dirt Report has always covered NBN Co news, will there be a season 2? Well, here is what I predict. The assessments will lead to cracks in the rollout. NBN Co will be forced to upgrade and update many premises that are deemed underperforming, e.g. not hitting that magic 25 megabits down sweet spot from 10 years ago. I'd say it's more like 50 megabits now, especially when he himself said that people are choosing the 50 megabits down plans. Then, and I hope, we will see push for fiber over a long period of time. I'll be here to report that, and here are a few hurdles to get over. These hurdles segue really well into our next topic. So post-lockdown, NBN usage is starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So let's be real, the NBN certainly proved itself during the COVID-19 pandemic with unprecedented load on the network. There was honestly no better way to test the internet. But it wasn't planned. So the first hurdle for upgrades is proving that even though the network usage is nearly back to pre-COVID numbers, do we really need that fiber? Because hey, the copper worked, right? Well, my thoughts is that over the next 5 years, to get out of this recession, we'll need to invest in our infrastructure, and the government should do that, and maybe build some hospitals and schools too. Not a bad place to start. For the sake of progress and innovation, we'll need fiber in the future, and now that 99% of Australians have faster internet, we should plan for the next decade and slowly start now. Secondly, the CVC, if all we can get out of this pandemic is a change to the way the CVC is managed, then we should be heading in the right direction. I have to admit that NBN Co's offer of 40% more CVC to the RSPs really helped the network survive. So I believe CVC should be scrapped entirely for a better system or something much more geared towards higher usage, or we'll just stick to 40% more CVC. Let's move on. COVID-19 has done a lot of damage around the world, and with Telstra's Belong, it has accelerated something that was on the books, according to Telstra. With most of their overseas support centres closed during the height of COVID-19, they had over 11,000 support tickets to deal with a backlog I don't wish on anyone except Telstra. Well, what did Belong do? Well, they took the tech route and began using a chatbot powered by Zendesk, a very popular support ticketing software. And so apparently this chatbot has been solving problems for customers day in, day out. After all, most questions lead to an answer that says, "Can you restart your modem, please?" Or "Have you tried turning it on and off?" But this shows a pretty scary future. You won't get to complain about overseas call centers anymore, forget about it. Instead, you'll be dealing with a bot, and I wish you good luck with that. I remember that scene from Elysium when our hero goes to their parole officer who is a chatbot. I can imagine that those AI chatbots to grow into popularity, substantial popularity all over other businesses. After all, I'm sure Zendesk will be pushing the tech hard. And the value, you may ask? Well, you can reduce tickets by X percentage and save X amount of dollars per year. And I bet many large support houses will take the offer on. Let me know in the comments below. Have you come up on a chatbot that actually helped you? Or tell me about an experience you had with a chatbot that didn't help you at all. I'd love to know. Now, get your VPNs ready. Let's become stowaways on the international copper cable ship to the outside world. Let's talk about some international news. It seems that the not-so-United States of America are preparing for some broadband rollouts themselves. This time it is nearly 6 million rural premises and businesses that are not served at all. The United States Federal Communications Commission voted on Tuesday to auction off 22.8 billion Australian dollars worth of infrastructure works. The auction applicants will be required to offer voice and broadband services in unserved locations in exchange for receiving monthly payments over 10 years. You see, the United States certainly have it worse than us in that case, though with much bigger population it makes sense. A report from the FCC said that 18.3 million people in the United States lack access to broadband, but the Democrats say that that underestimates the problem, while Republicans note the report found the number without access has fallen by 30% since 2016. And then I say, who cares? There's still people without broadband in 2020. The FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, a Republican, said the auction will allow providers to bring millions of Americans across the digital divide. Now moving on, I'm sure Sony would be happy to hear that more people would potentially be connected to the internet in America and obviously buy their latest console. Well, Australians on Friday morning woke up early to set their eyes on the latest PlayStation from Sony. The 5th generation comes with bold looks, interesting colors, major upgrades, and of course new exclusive games which we got to see. Here is a quick summary. We have a bunch of new games: Spider-Man Miles Morales. You may have seen Morales on the big screen in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Amazing movie. In other highlights, we have Hitman 3, Horizon Forbidden West, which is the Horizon Zero Dawn second part, Deathloop, which is a very interesting take on a TV show that used to be called Daybreak. I'm not sure if you remember that. And then we have Resident Evil 8, Oddworld, a renewed Oddworld of course, Ratchet & Clank, plus many more. And if you want to see that coverage, check out our live stream from the actual day and then from our Saturday State of the Beanstalk. You can see that below. I'll put it in there in the description. We had a long hour spent discussing all that Sony goodness. In regards to the hardware, it's certainly stunning and brave. By far the most futuristic clamshell I have ever seen. Many were probably shocked to see that none of the renders and rumors published online came true, which is great. Those videos are pure clickbait. But wait, I have a rumor for you later on. Now there is an optical version and a digital one, but to be honest, I see no value in getting the digital version. It defeats the beauty of a console and the ability to share games with your friends, just handing the disc over, and not having to download hundreds of gigabytes. Let me know in the comments below if you'll be getting a PlayStation 5. In fact, which one would you prefer, optical or digital? Now, Casper and I woke up 3:30 AM to do a live stream, and it was certainly well worth it. The console wars are well and truly alive. Let's see if Nintendo brings anything to the party. Alright, let's move on. Let's talk apples. And no, not the ones you wear around your neck to protect yourself from the wild doctors out there. No, this is the tech Apple, the one and only. Apple is rumored to unveil their own CPU chips at WWDC. This would be dropping Intel as their CPU supplier. Now this is huge. They've been together since 2005. Now what a world we live in where future MacBooks and Mac devices would run on Apple-made CPUs. It was back in 2005 when Steve Jobs announced that Apple is moving on to Intel-based CPUs, and 15 years later, they move off onto their own. So what does this mean for you? It will begin with lower priced Macs in 2021. Expect these CPUs to have at least 12 cores, but it is unknown how many threads at this stage. And I found a quote about Intel from Brad Gasworth, Chief Technology Strategist at Wedbush Security, who said, "This news has negative long-term implications for Intel, in line with our concerns around Intel's future market share." Intel just keeps getting piled on. First AMD tightening their screws, and now Apple will begin dropping Intel chips from their devices. Now this process will take a while, so don't expect any high-end Macs with Apple's own CPU. This is very unlikely. No matter how much money you throw at things like this, it'll take a few years to perfect and improve. And I'm sure Apple will get there, but for now, we have only the lower tier 2021 versions of the MacBooks or Macs that are going to be coming out with those CPUs. They are ARM-based. Finally, we have IKEA. And in the spirit of IKEA, they want to sell you everything for your home, and in the latest efforts to do so, they are now offering solar panels and batteries for your home. And before you run out and buy your solar panel jigsaw puzzle, know that it's not that easy, and no, you won't be putting this together yourself. IKEA will be doing these installs via official channels and installers. Pricing starts from around 3,000 Australian dollars for a basic solar setup and around 10,000 plus AUD for one with a battery. Let me know below if you would be getting an IKEA solar panel. I would imagine it depends on what state you are in and the rebates and buyback schemes that you get. Friends, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this week's packed episode. Hope to see you all next week. Remember, if you like this video, then tap that like button. And if you are interested in seeing more content like this, then please consider subscribing below. Thanks for watching, and bye! Bye!